Welcome, everybody. Today, we're taking a slightly different angle. We're focusing on how to elevate the entire project from the start. Specifically, how professional lighting design can expand scope, improve your outcomes, and increase the total project value. So, this clarity creates confidence. And if we think about often how most lighting gets handled, it's functional, or it's based on allowances, or it's lightly discussed. So the client never really sees what's possible. The real question is, how do you create more clarity? A designer creates clarity through a complete vision, not just individual pieces and parts. When clients can clearly see your outcome, they almost always choose the better version. So let's get into our guest today. I've known our guest more than 20 years. Glenn Johnson is the founder of Adaptive Design Group and has spent several decades as an architectural lighting designer. He started his career in the San Francisco Bay Area, working in his family's business, which has some fascinating stories that we've talked about in the past, which is super cool. On some of the most exclusive homes, before then becoming a licensed electrical contractor, and then continuing that work in LA. So he later spent a decade with Spectrum Engineers in Salt Lake City, focused on high-end residential projects, and in 2002 founded Adaptive Design Group, where he's built a premier team of dedicated design-led lighting solutions. What I like working with Glenn, he brings a rare combination of like deep technical expertise and then the design perspective and all the like just a good mix of everything. And today we're going to dig into how that translates into larger projects, better outcomes for our clients, and more opportunity inside the work you're already doing. So Glenn, great to have you here, guys. Give Glenn a nice hello in the chat. And thank you for joining us all the way from Park City, Utah. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. It's great to talk to this illustrious group of yours and share a bit of what I know over these 40 years in this luxury residential space.
Nice, nice. So I think a lot of times when people talk about like lighting design, there's probably a lot of stuff that comes to mind. But one of the things that I think comes to mind is they think of it as just a like super high-end luxury add-on. What do they get wrong about that?
One of the things that I like to, open up with is the fact that we are architectural lighting designers. We're not a lighting designer that works in a showroom somewhere, or a lighting showroom, or works for a distributor or a rep agency. We are architectural lighting designers, meaning we are side by side with the owner and with the architect right up front, and the interior designers. Actually, most times we're brought in well before a builder. So that's kind of our difference, is where we sit. We're at the table first and foremost early. And in most cases, we're bringing the integrator to the table in this process.
Nice. So for projects that are like already running, a lot of our members might be involved in a project that's already going and doesn't have good quality lighting design. What does it look like to bring someone in when that project is already started? Like, what's the lead in? What's the value add? Like, how can they message that?
I can't tell you how many projects we come in where there's a roof on and windows in.
Oh, geez.
Electrical contractors are standing by with their tool bags on, and what do I do next?
Right.
And so the issue, the biggest problem is, and we come in at all different phases. We come in at houses that are complete as well, and we do complete lighting and control renovations, adding the appropriate product that should have been in the first place. So for the team here, the easiest thing for us is in making that introduction. We go in together with your, on a Zoom with your architect locally on a project, and we do a 40-minute Zoom presentation, and it's all over. Because the architect wants everything we have to offer. They want their home to be glorious and make the cover of magazines and things. And it's really, the emotion of light we create.
For our members, how do they quantified this journey or deal with this journey, there just seems like so many possible scenarios. How do they make heads or tails of like where they're at in this? And then how do they communicate to the client without annoying anybody?
That 40-minute presentation I talked about, it might be a good idea, Patrick, that we do that presentation to this entire group of yours.
Hmm.
And that will give you the talking points to emotionally sell architectural lighting design. It's about the appropriate application of light. And once everyone sees that application of light, it is mind blowing. And so the architects sit up in their chair because remember, we're on par with the architect. The way we work with the clients and educating them on all the tools and all the processes that we go through, it is very, very smooth application. It's very easy being able to communicate with that emotional approach with our lighting design. And I don't think I've ever had a client say, no, I don't want that. It's like, oh my goodness, how come we're coming in so late? There's a roof and windows, electricians are standing by.
Yeah. One of the concepts you've talked about, which I love, is this idea of bringing in subject matter experts, whether those are SMEs on your team or those are outside SMEs, but those are people who really know one particular subject well. It makes the sales process that much more enjoyable for the prospect and easier for you as the owner of the company. So I really like that as a diversification model to the sales process. In your experience, how does that usually play out during the sales process?
Well, you're right. In the last couple of years, the various buying groups in the CI channel, I'm very familiar. All of a sudden, these buying groups said, hey guys, here you've got, $1 billion worth of new products that you can sell. And you're going, great, that's wonderful, but how do I apply it? What do I do with it? So that's what we sort out. And as Patrick said, I mean, most importantly, Adaptive Design Group does not supply product.
Mhm.
We design, we engineer and specify and program what we know is best alongside with the integrator that's on the job. We take nothing away. We charge a fee. And yes, it is easy because we'll write all the specs. We'll do the bill of materials. You'll get the BOM on the Lutron controls, if that's what it is. All the programming, all the button presses are completed right through our lighting plan, and we deliver a package that you can bid and supply.
So, what is it like for us to relinquish this control to companies like you guys to handle this part of it? How does that play out?
Well, really, there's no ego here. That's what's most important. Is again, we're not taking anything away. We're just advancing the project. We're giving the owners what they're expecting, and they're expecting everything that you and I have to offer.
Yeah.
So for this group that is here, it's real easy. You just make that introduction. We do it together. We do the Zoom. Best to have the architect. If we can get the owner, that's great. I won't do a proposal until we meet the owner. We have to meet the owner. You can bring us in, we can work under you. Our fees are not going to change though. They'll be the same. If you want to mark us up, you can. But the reality of it is what we're going to give to you is the right package.
Yeah, that's the thing, the product sale and the labor and all the other stuff. Um, I think we've all been on these projects where we see these like fantastic homes and we ask for a lighting design and or a lighting plan and they give us the four cans and a fan, build out plan. For better or for worse, we've all seen amazing homes done really well, right? And then we look at this home and we go, there's no real plan here. How do we broach that subject to bring in a professional um, designer?
Well, again, it's that introduction and that presentation. Most importantly, what we have to offer is 40 years worth of the most incredible homes on the planet. We have the client names. We've got the architects worldwide. We have the interior designers worldwide. We got the top builders worldwide that we've worked with. And that portfolio that opens the doors for you. And it doesn't matter where you're located, we're nationwide. So that's what opens the door wide. You
Hmm.
say adaptive design group, Glenn Johnson, you send them to the website, we're going to get a meeting.
Yeah, so how Arthur has a good question here in terms of the differences between lighting designs. I think this another these terminologies have been changed and evolved. So lighting design, like layered lighting, the stuff that your dad used to do and you do, like that kind of stuff versus control design. So talk a little bit about the differences there.
Well, in all the years I've been doing this, I've been at the very beginning of integrated dimming control, right? Well, these engineers have all been in my office from the beginning. So we've been doing fully integrated dimming control from the beginning. So
Mm,
we're architectural lighting designers, meaning we're designing a lot of the ceilings in our homes. We work on a layer process of light that is brilliantly presented. It's also a trademark of ours. So we're designing coves and cloud ceilings and all, making recommendations to the team. But when all this is infused, you have to design the lighting first and with the right specifications, and only then do you apply the controls. Can't do it the other way.
right.
And the client's expecting all this magic because you put in a Lutron dimming system or a Crestron dimming system, and there's no magic because the specs are wrong. So we design, engineer, program the lighting control. All the keypad designs are on our plans, all the engraving, all the sheets, all the keypads. Plus, we're electrical engineers, so we can do all the power, full service, full turnkey, 100% biddable and buildable document.
Mm.
That's the difference, but you need a buildable set of plans.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think, and this is another thing we've all probably seen too, is this the idea of an inefficient or insufficient lighting design, and then you bolt on control on top of it. All you end up doing usually is integrating like the switches and functionality is just like if they were manual, they just happen to be automatic. Like, you're not creating scenes, you're not doing layers, you're not doing all of the cool stuff. So I think, and this kind of covers one of the, some of the questions we're getting in the chat. But so you start with you have on one end of the spectrum you have the uh, building permit, set that's been priced. And then you have like what you guys do, which is turnkey, even all the way through programming and aiming if you want. So, we've had a few questions in terms of like, how does the pricing of this kind of thing, work out?
When that architect creates that generic lighting plan,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
what's needed for permit purposes only. Problem with that is three builders are bidding that. And then they've got toggle switches everywhere. So there's poor electricians and builders have to cannot deviate from that. So we want to get in our key target is the architect. It has to be the architect. So that's where our firms and your firms can get with your local architects and do a presentation. This is going to bring you with us right up to the table. They're going to introduce, after our presentation, they'll bring the owners in right now, because this is desperation time. Um, and so that's really how easy it is for you to say, Glenn, we've got three architects in our area. Are you available? We can do that Zoom presentation. Absolutely. I don't charge for that presentation. I love it. It's fun and it's really the only way that we can have success with this.
Yeah.
So we need to short circuit that as early as possible, educate the architect, let us do what we do, and then it's a fun process. And it's the only way, gentlemen, that we can have fun in this luxury home world is with that process.
Yeah. Love it. I think that, uh, that's definitely something I just want to come back to is we want to be as early in the process as possible. What are how about a potential financial mistake that an integrator can make when getting into these design-led projects early rather than like responsive reactionary projects? I think we're all masters at the reactionary project, right? Like you walk into, there's a problem to solve, there's holes to fill, we got that covered. What about early on introducing these personalities and being design led? What's something that we can make a mistake on that you'd want to steer us away from?
Well, um, most importantly, this takes a long time to develop the
Mm,
drawings and documents through schematic DDs and specs. To give you an idea, our schematic design process is 6 weeks.
hmm.
Our design development process is another 8 weeks. Got
Yeah.
another 6 to 8 weeks on design development because we are coordinating in tremendous detail. Again, with the architect, we're educating the architects, we're designing ceilings and coves and all that together with them. The interior designer, all of her furniture plan or their furniture plan, all the art placement, all the decorative lighting placements, it's all on our plans. It has to be. The worst meeting that happens today in any project, particularly in electrical, is when or the luxury world is when the builder calls an electrical walk, right? We've all been through that process, and it's a nightmare. That will not happen when we're all working together in this process. It's not necessary because we sorted all the way through. This is not something that to be taken lightly, but once everybody sees the level of our work and our drawings and documents, it's easy. So our fee structure is real simple. It's very organized. Everything is based on square footage. Maybe I'm jumping ahead, Patrick.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Everything is based on square footage, not who the client is. It's the same for every home, and it's based on architectural lighting design fee based on square, the integrated dimming control based on square footage, programming based on square footage, line item, the electrical engineering, the full shade coordination, all shade panels, shade buttons on the keypads, all of that. Electrical, if we're doing that, landscape lighting, if we're doing that, CA, construction admin, final aim and tune. It's all line items on the proposal.
I think you bring it. First of all, I want to thank you and call back attention to you laying out that timeline because I think there's probably some people on the call that were relieved that it's not just them on how long this stuff takes. It can be pretty painful. When you have a well-designed system, this is the mindset shift, right? When you have a well-designed system from the beginning, that programming writes itself. Like it's done through the design process. The engraving is done through the design process. You can unbox keypads and have them pre-engraved and slam them in. Like so many things can be done well when you have the design done well up front. And it's flipping the whole process. Instead of retrofit, figure it out, program, engrave, the entire process is flipped on its head. So I think a lot of people, that's like a foreign concept to a lot of people because they've been so scarred by how things have been done in the past.
Well, the worst thing you can do to a client is put a blank keypad on the wall and ask them what they want of the buttons. They will say, "Get out of my house. Are you kidding me?"
There are people cringing on this call right now. I can feel it. I can feel it coming right
Yeah, well,
now.
we've all
Yeah.
seen it. I mean, after all, again, like starting back in the light touch days, we, um, we learned the hard way. We also learned the hard way with too many buttons on the wall. Back in the light touch days, we had 9 buttons to deal with. And
Right.
for me, I thought it was awesome because I'd have scene one, scene two, scene three, pathway this, pathway that.
Yeah. Yeah.
A quick little story. An actor that we did a very exclusive house with. We had those 9 buttons at the entry, and back in the day, with a company that I won't mention, the buttons would stick on a metal plate. So he hit the button stuck on the metal plate. The house entry was going up and down. He couldn't figure out how to turn it off, so he decked the keypad. And he called me up, and keypad was on the floor, and we went up there. What the heck? And he told us the situation. So that doesn't happen anymore. But boy, in those early days of integrated dimming control, that happened a lot. But we can do so many things with 4 buttons on the wall. Very simple. That user interface has to be so intuitive that grandma, the kids, house guests, all of that can operate the home. We have to make that front end very simple and intuitive, room to room to room. And that's why we've taken that on years ago, and it works brilliantly.
I neglected up. We got all wrapped up in this and neglected a couple of hands that were up. So Jim's hand's still up. Jim, if you want to unmute and ask your question.
Hey, I just want to confirm I heard some things correctly. So we're in the Hilton Head area, market area, um, and we 20 years and we've been working on relationships with the architects. We go to church with them, our kids go to school with them, and we're just haven't gotten to the point that we're invited to the table early. We're invited at the builder point. We're way too late. So we worked with a company out of Texas that does something similar to you to come in and, and they're offering $15,000 designs, but we're so late in the project, everyone has the mental mindset to their budget, and it's been a shift. Plus the presentation has been clunky. It hasn't been well done. It hasn't been a luxury experience in the presentation. What excites me about what I heard today is I'm the kind of guy that I'd love to stick in my back pocket, go see the architect, and schedule a time with you and I where you're the expert and I'm your expert with the boots on the ground locally. And together you and I are a team. And so that's exciting. The concern is there's probably 5 other integrator companies, ourselves and 2 others that are worth any salt. The others are questionable, but because they're cheap, they get business. So how, if building relationships with the architect can help get us in, how can we help keep our name as part of that design that they're using us, and it's not just going to the builder that then free, for them to use any other AV company. I mean, we'll win some, we'll lose some, but how can we lock in a majority share of that?
Well, I'll have to say that really in the 40 years I've been doing this, this is the most exciting time in my career. And you might say, why? Well, guess what? 100% technology. This cannot be faked. This is very serious engineering, particularly with intelligent lighting and things. And we're not the integrator, you're the integrator. So we take it so far, but you're the ones doing all the AV, you're doing the home networks, you're doing all of that. You are intimately involved forever on the project, just like us. And so when we're teaming together, this is what I call the modern design team. This is a term that I use. So the modern design team consists of an architect, an interior designer, an architectural lighting designer, and an integrator. You all, that's the team. And it can't be done any other way.
Yeah, I would say just one, I want to jump in here, Jim.
Sure.
I think all of us have been in a situation where we've been the tip of the spear education point. Like we're the ones telling them all the cool stuff that can happen and all the neat things that are available, and whether it's dimming control or it's fixtures or it's layered lighting, like you guys here are the cutting edge and you're pushing tip of the spear into these relationship situations. You get them all excited and then they go, oh, well then maybe my other AV guy can do this for me too. So I think in a situation like this where you're able to bring a firm in like Glenn's, is that now Glenn is the anchor planet and you're coming along with Glenn no matter what. Kind of
Great question, Jim. And yes, that architect that you go to church with will remember this forever. And so he's gonna bring you to the table along with the next owner and perhaps us or another pro lighting designer to get this done. That's great. It's very difficult a lot of times for the CI channel to get even in the door of an architect because they feel that you're just trying to sell them boxes and lots of boxes. And when again, now what we're talking about is technology. Again, the owners want everything that we have to offer, our firm, your firm. They want it all, but nobody has been, a lot of people haven't had that ability to communicate effectively what it means emotionally. And I love that because this is emotion. So if we can show that architect that we and you, because you've brought us to the table, are at that level with them to help create that emotion with all the proven technologies that are out there today and the success. I mean, we do a tremendous amount of Lutron, a tremendous amount of Ketra and Rania. Integrators have a tough time selling it because the builder is looking at that line item. It has nothing to do with the line item. It's us, educating the team. So that is the difference that we see with integrators that we work with is you're not having to sell us. We'll give you in that presentation the communication tools to get us to the table with you and the architect and the owner. And then it's just, it moves on forward from there. When the architect sees the level of what we do, they're saying, please take this on because we don't have the time, nor do we have the bandwidth to do architectural lighting design. And you are the technical team right there with us. So again, architect, interior designer, architectural lighting designer, integrator. That's the modern team. And nobody can fake their way through this independently.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Owning that position is a big one. Connecting to the right people is a big one. And just, you are a professional. Great. Any closing advice for us, Glenn?
Well, number one, I really appreciate this opportunity, Patrick.
Yeah.
This is a great group, and you're really my guys. The CI channel is the guys. Not a lot of lighting designers out there talking to the CI channel because they're all nervous because a lot of lighting designers are selling the products that you're trying to sell, right? Again, we don't have that issue because we're not in your pockets. So that's most important for you to know that we're your friends, we're your advocates. You need us, we need you. And we can, so when we get the phone call, this is really important nationwide, we're working nationwide and overseas on projects. I just got back from London last week. We are bringing the integrators to the table. So if we have an opportunity in the Carolinas, we know Jim Smith, when we know, and we want to make sure that all of our integrator channels, if Lutron is the product, that you're fully certified and able to take that product on and other products. So we'll work through all that and get it done. Most importantly, that modern design team is the only way that we can have fun with this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's not fun without it.
Right. Right. I think we've all had plenty of not fun. We want to have more fun. Yeah, right on. Well, thank you, Glenn. I appreciate it. Everybody give Glenn a nice thank you. Jim's asking if you do commercial. That's an interesting one. I hadn't heard of that one. Like I said, I'm gonna let Glenn go because he's a busy guy. But thank you so much, Glenn. I got your QR up on the screen there, so make sure you connect with Glenn. Looks like Anthony Petrone sent you an email about a project already, Glenn. So there's that. John Bates, I really recommend you reach out to Glenn with some of your questions on pricing and stuff like that. Do there. So, but thanks for coming, Glenn, and I'm sure we'll be talking to each other soon. So appreciate it.
Again, once again, thank you for the opportunity. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Look forward to seeing how we can help.
All right. See you later. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.